823 रवि पे नीरज का नाम है बादशाह 123 पता ना हाँ?
Hello friends and welcome to Hitbullseye. This is the session in which we discuss the weekly current affairs of the last 1 week. And in this session we are going to discuss the May 4th week current affairs. My name is Manish Mittal and we will be studying a lot of happenings in India and around the world in this session. So let us have a look at the important issues or important appointments. Basically the week has been laden with a lot of appointments, a lot of persons being in news. So the famous or the most important USP of this class is going to be the persons who have been in news. So let us take a look. First of all, Nikhat Zareen. So Nikhat Zareen is a sports person. We will see why she is making news. I think the most important news of the week is of her. Next is Raja Ram Mohan Roy. So you might be surprised to see the name of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, who was a prominent socio-religious reformer in the modern Indian history. We will see why Raja Ram Mohan Roy is making news in 2022. Salil Parikh is another person who has been appointed at a specifically important position. So we will see what that position is. The same goes for Vijay, Shekhar, Sharma and Anthony Albanese, the persons who have occupied some important positions in India and around the world. So we will take a look at what their achievements have been. In sports, 12th Hockey India Senior Women's National Championship has been conducted and a particular state has emerged as the winner. So we will find out what the name of that state is. Next, Vinay Kumar Saxena, again a person in news for a specific reason, for being appointed at a specific position of importance. Then India has joined United States-led Indo-Pacific Economic Plan, a really important news in international relations perspective. Next, Sangeethakalan Awards for 2020, 2021 and 2022. All the 3 years combined have been given out. Because the ceremony could not be conducted due to COVID-19 for the past 2 years, this time the Sangeethakalan Awards are being presented for 3 years together. Then Shikhar Dhawan, the famous cricketer, has made a particular record. We will see what that record is. And finally, the bilateral exercise Bongo Sagar is being conducted. We will see which two countries are involved in the exercise. So without wasting any time, let's get started. Nikhat Zareen. So Nikhat Zareen is an Indian boxer. So she has won a gold medal at the 2022 IBS Women's World Boxing Championships. Gold medal at the World Boxing Championship is the highest achievement that a boxer can have. So she has become one, Nikhat Zareen. And she says that MC Maricom is her idol. And there was a photograph going viral in which she is standing with MC Maricom. So that photograph was quite viral last week. So she has become the 5th woman in India to win a world title. So who were the first 4 women to win the titles? The first was MC Maricom. Second, Sarita Devi. Third, Jenny RL. And 4th, Lekha Casey. These are the 4 women boxers who have achieved world titles. Other than, so this is not the first feather in her cap. There are so many others. She has won the Junior World Championship, where she won the gold medal. She has also won a bronze medal at the 2nd India Open International Boxing Tournament that was held in Guwahati. So she has, quite a lot of titles in her name. This is not the first one. This is indeed another feather in her cap. That is how we can sum it up. Next, Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Now, when we hear the name of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, there is a very important sobriquet that is associated with him, and that is that he is known as the Renaissance Man of India. Basically, he is known as, he is believed to be one of the first reformers or socio-religious reformers in modern Indian society. In the 1800s or in the mid of the 19th century, he was the one who started, he started awareing people against the evils in Indian society, whether it is the sati pratha or whether it is the taboo against widow remarriage. So he started correcting all those things. Now the reason he has been making news is because it is his 250th birth anniversary. So in 2022 we are celebrating 250th birth anniversary of Raja Ram Mohan Roy. It is being celebrated by the Ministry of Culture under Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is 75 years of Indian independence. So it starts on the 75 years of Indian independence, which is 2022, and it will go all the way up to the 100th year of Indian independence. So in these 25 years, we want to achieve a lot of great things for India, be it in economy, be it in society, be it in polity, international relations. And that is a broad vision that the government of India has, and that is what we call Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So Raja Ram Mohan Roy was born in West Bengal, and he studied all major religious texts. He studied Gita, Ramayana, Mahabharat, Quran, Bible, Guru Granth Sahib. He studied all these religious texts. Then in 1814 he formed Atmiya Sabha. Now these are important points from the exam point of view. In 1814 he formed Atmiya Sabha. Then in 1821 he formed the Calcutta Unitarian Association. Then in 1828 he founded the most important organization, that is the Brahmo Samaj. He fought for the rights of women, which included the rights of widows and widows to remarry, and the right for women to hold property. So he was quite a votary of women's rights. His continuous efforts led to the abolition of Sati Pratha in 1829. This is one of the most important achievements of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, that he was able to convince the British to abolish Sati Pratha. So Sati Pratha was a tradition under which if a husband died, then her wife was forcefully burnt alive on the funeral pyre of her husband. So that was the the level of cruelty to which those women were subjected to. But he was able to convince the British to abolish the Sati Pratha by passing a law in 1829. He also fought against the caste system, untouchability, superstition, and the use of intoxicants. His revolts attacked child marriage, so he was also against child marriage, women illiteracy, and polygamy. He also started a Bengali newspaper called Sambad Kaumudi, which worked to degrade Sati. So he had a newspaper called Sambad Kaumudi. So all these important pointers are really, really relevant from exam point of view. Next, Salil Parikh. So I told you this week has been dominated by a lot of important personalities who have either occupied a specific position or who have done some specific achievement. So Mr. Salil Parikh has been reappointed. That means he's already on the position. He has been reappointed as the Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director, that is CEO and MD of Infosys. Infosys is one of the largest IT companies of India, and Mr. Salil Parikh has been reappointed at the position of MD and CEO for 5 years till 2027. But it is based on the recommendations of the Nomination and Remuneration Committee (NRC), and it is subject to the approval of the shareholders. So basically, in the memorandum of the company, it must be written that any reappointment is subject to the approval of the shareholders, which of course will be granted. So Mr. Salil Parikh has become an important name in the field of business. Another important personality news is Mr. Vijay Shekhar Sharma. So he has also been reappointed as the MD and CEO of Paytm. So I'm sure many of you use Paytm for either their day-to-day transactions or for any other purpose. because it is such a, demonetization in 2016 fueled the growth of all these digital wallets like Paytm, Google Pay, etc. But Paytm was the one that was able to capitalize on that change. So Mr. Vijay Shekhar Sharma has been reappointed for another 5 years till 2027. And the company which owns Paytm, this is very important. Most of us do not know about it. So the company that owns Paytm is 197 Communications. 197, in which 1 is written as ONE and 97 is written in digits 9 and 7. 197 Communications, and it also announced the appointment of Madhur Deora as additional director of the company. But that is not very important. Mr. Vijay Shekhar Sharma is important. Another person in news, not in India, but at the global level, is Mr. Anthony Albanese. So Mr. Anthony Albanese has become the new Prime Minister of Australia. So he belongs to the Labour Party, Australia's Labour Party, and he is the new Prime Minister of Australia. The outgoing Prime Minister is Mr. Scott Morrison. So Mr. Scott Morrison completed his term, and now in the elections, Mr. Anthony Albanese has emerged as the winner. And he has become the 31st Prime Minister. Many a times such facts are not important, but sometimes they are. So he is the 31st Prime Minister of Australia. Another fact, most of the students and most of the aspirants believe that the capital of Australia is Sydney. I have had the pleasure to interact with many of the students, and I casually ask them the capitals of countries like Pakistan, Australia, or Canada, because these are very common countries. Many Indians have moved to these countries, so I presume that people would know the answers. But majority of students and laymen, they do not know the capitals of these countries. Like many people believe that the capital of Pakistan is Lahore, while indeed it is Islamabad. Similarly, the capital of Australia, many people believe is Sydney, whether it is Canberra. The actual capital of Australia is Canberra. And similarly, many people believe that the capital of Canada is either Toronto or Ontario. It is not. The capital of Canada is Ottawa. So just a little bit of reality check, a little bit of dots of knowledge that might help you. Next, 12th Hockey India Senior Women's National Championship has been won by Odisha. Odisha has emerged as the winner. In the first ever, it has won the first ever gold in senior nationals, and they defeated Karnataka in the final. So Odisha has defeated Karnataka. Right, the third position has been won by Jharkhand and the fourth by Haryana. Right, not very important, just the first and second positions are most important. And the venue of the competition was Bhopal, which is the capital of Madhya Pradesh. So here you can see the Odisha team as champions. Next, Mr. Vinay Kumar Saxena, another important person making news this week. So Mr. Vinay Kumar Saxena has been appointed as the new Lieutenant Governor of Delhi. So Delhi's Lieutenant Governor, Mr. Anil Baijal, had resigned last week, citing health reasons. There was no controversy per se, although generally there is a controversy between the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi and the Chief Minister of Delhi, especially if both of them belong to different political parties. Because in Delhi right now there is Aam Aadmi Party government, and the Lieutenant Governor works and is appointed by the central government. So in that way, if the central government, the political party in power at the center and the political party in power in Delhi are two separate parties, there is a very high likelihood that there is friction and souring of relations between the Lieutenant Governor and the CM of Delhi. But that was not the reason why Mr. Baijal resigned. He resigned due to some personal reasons, and now Mr. Vinay Kumar Saxena is the new Lieutenant Governor of National Capital Territory of Delhi. Interestingly, NCT of Delhi is the official name of Delhi according to the Constitution of India. Many of us would believe that National Capital Region or NCR is a term that we associate with Delhi. But NCR is a very broad term. In NCR, there are so many districts of Haryana and Uttar Pradesh that are included. But when we say NCT of Delhi, it does not include those areas of Uttar Pradesh and Haryana, because those are two separate political entities, two separate states. The NCT of Delhi is the official name of Delhi as per the Constitution of India under Article 239AA or 239AA. Right? So for the NCT of Delhi, the Lieutenant Governor is there, who is appointed by the President of India. Very importantly, the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi is appointed by the President of India. Next, India has joined another global grouping. So for the last 1 year, India has been joining so many new organizations. India has been expanding its foreign policy reach so much, and a lot has happened in the last 1 year in the space of foreign relations. So now, after joining Quad, New Quad and AUKUS, India has joined yet another pro-US organization, and that is the Indo-Pacific Economic Plan or Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity, known as IPEF. IPEF, Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity. And there are a total of 13 countries in this particular grouping. And as the name suggests, Indo-Pacific means that most of the countries that are members of the organization or the members of this so-called grouping are having their border with either the Indian Ocean or the Pacific Ocean or both. So the purpose is, it's a US-led initiative. It's a US-led trade initiative. That means these 13 countries are going to have better trade relations amongst each other, and it is meant to counter China's aggressive expansion in the Indo-Pacific. We have been talking about Indo-Pacific strategy of the US for quite some time now, and it must be clear to most of us that Indo-Pacific is the region that is going to be the hotbed of international clashes going ahead. And USA is on one side, China is on the other side. So the 13 countries that have become the members are Australia, Brunei, Indonesia, Japan, Malaysia, New Zealand, Philippines, Singapore, South Korea, Thailand and Vietnam. And all these members together account for 40% of the total GDP of the world. Let us have a look at the map of these countries on the world map. So if you can see over here. So this here is, the Pacific Ocean. So this is the Pacific and this is the Indian Ocean. And all these countries surround either the Indian Ocean or the Pacific Ocean, thereby justifying the term Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity. Right? So a total of 13 countries are a part of this initiative, IPEF, and India is also a part. So India, India's list of those groupings that are pro-US have grown quite a bit now. The Quad was there already, which is the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue involving India, US, Japan and Australia. Then another grouping was New Quad, which involved another set of 4 countries, India, US, UAE and Israel. Then now it is IPEF, Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity. And India is increasingly being seen as a pro-US and anti-China partner by China, which is quite understandable. The world is seeing what we can call a sort of Cold War, but the formation of a lot of groupings which amount to blockism or balkanization of the world is not a good sign. The same thing or a similar thing happened at the beginning of 20th century or somewhere around the mid of 20th century, and it led to the Second World War. And it led to an era of Cold War between the Soviet Union on one side and the United States on the other side. We do not want to be caught into that situation. But as many foreign policy experts say, our strategy has changed from non-alignment in the 20th century to multi-alignment in the 21st century. So now, instead of remaining aloof from both the camps, we are actively engaging with both the camps. So that seems to be the strategy of Indian foreign policy. Next, Sangeethakalan Awards have been announced, and these awards are given by the Music Academy. So this is the Music Academy, and it is based in Tamil Nadu. That is why the awards are given by the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, and this time also the awards will be given by Tamil Nadu CM Mr. M.K. Stalin. So for the year 2020, the award has gone to renowned vocalist Neyveli R. Sangeethakalan. He is a Mridangam artist, right? Second award for 2021 has gone to Thiruvarur Bhaktavatsalam, and for 2022 GJR Krishnan and Vijay Lakshmi have been awarded. So these are the four persons. For 2020, Mr. Sangeethakalan, for 2021 Thiruvarur, and for 2022 two joint winners are there, that is GJR Krishnan and Vijay Lakshmi. So these are the Sangeethakalan Awards, one of the most prestigious awards in the fields of music. Next, Shikhar Dhawan. So I'm sure most of you who watch cricket or who play cricket or do both would be quite familiar with the name of Shikhar Dhawan. So he has made a specific record, and records are meant to be broken in every sport. So he is playing for Punjab Kings in the IPL. He has become the first player to hit 700 fours. So he has hit 700 fours in the history of Indian Premier League. So in IPL, he has become the first player to hit 700 fours. He has now a total of 701 IPL fours, and the second, he's followed by second number David Warner, who has 577 fours, and at number 3 is Virat Kohli, 576 fours. So this kind of records are really important from the exam point of view. Quite a fodder for such factual questions. And finally, bilateral exercise Bongo Sagar has been conducted. Now, even if you do not know between which two countries this exercise has been conducted, a little bit of peripheral knowledge or a little bit of application of peripheral knowledge would be able to get the correct answer. Bongo Sagar. So Sagar means sea. That is not a problem. It's a no-brainer. But Bongo. Now bongs or Bongo is associated with Bengal or with the language Bengali. Now, other than India or other than the Indian state of West Bengal, there is only one country where Bengali speaking people live in majority, and that is Bangladesh. That means even if you did not know the answer, just by breaking the root of the word or just by the etymological meaning of the very word Bongo Sagar, you could have derived the answer. So some questions are derivable in the exam if we are if we are vigilant enough, if we are confident enough, we are not nervous in the exam, and if we are able to break a longer word into smaller ones. Sometimes the questions are derivable. So Bongo Sagar is a bilateral naval exercise between Bangladesh Navy and the Indian Navy, of course in the Bay of Bengal. So it has commenced at Port Mongla in Bangladesh, and so both the navies are participating, and this is the third, I think it is the third version of this exercise, right? So bilateral exercise Bongo Sagar between India and Bangladesh. Of course, Bangladesh has a very specific position in India and in India's foreign policy, and India has the most important place in Bangladesh because Bangladesh's creation, they owe their creation to India. So it was in 1971 that Bangladesh was created, and it was the Indian Prime Minister Ms. Indira Gandhi who fought a war with Pakistan that led to the creation of the Bengali speaking Eastern Pakistan being converted into Bangladesh. And that is why this image of Indira Gandhi with Sheikh Mujibur Rahman is, you will find in every place wherever Indo-Bangladesh relations are being talked about. So they credit their creation, the existence of their nation, to India. And in 2021, last year, Indian President traveled to Bangladesh to celebrate the 50 years of the creation of Bangladesh. That is the level of respect and credit they accord to India. So that is all for this session. All those people, all those sporting events, all those political controversies remained popular this particular week. Next week we'll be back with a lot more news, a lot more exciting stuff, and a lot of such facts and news that you should not miss if you are appearing for any exam. And even if you are not, these are going to help you to remain aware of the happenings in India and around the world. That is me, Manish Mittal, signing off. Thank you.